In today's world, it wouldn't be wrong to say that there's nothing that intrigues or interests people more than fantasy series. House of the Dragon is one of the most anticipated series of this year, as it's set 200 years prior to the events of Game of Thrones. The show has now gone on air, and people have a lot to say about it. Let's have a look at the House of Dragon Episode 1 recap. Number 5, The Targaryens. The first episode opens with scenes that give the viewers an insight into the dragon-riding family, also known as the Targaryens. The family comes from a place known as Old Valyria. As they moved to the east, they were the only family that owned dragons. They became the only dragon lords as they were the ones that escaped the Doom, which is a cataclysmic event that destroyed Valyria in a day. The reason behind their escape and survival was not mere luck. The Targaryens had a strong bond with dragons, but that's not the only gift they had. They also had prophetic dreams. Daenerys, who saw one such prophetic dream, told her father to leave before the city came burning down, which is exactly what she saw happen. The family then took their dragons and Valyrian steel and moved away from Valyria, escaping the Doom. They moved to an island, which they later called the Dragonstone. Being the only family with dragons made them extremely powerful in the area. 100 years later, Aegon conquered 6 of the 7 kingdoms of the Westeros. Following his conquest, Aegon was made the Lord of the 7 kingdoms, even though he still hadn't conquered one of the kingdoms. Another 100 years had passed, and now Jaehaerys had to make the decision of who would succeed him, for which he called a council. As the Lord chose a male descendant, it was said that a woman would never become the Lord or inherit the Iron Throne. Number 4, the present day. While we've described who the Targaryens are and the events that led to the present day, let's now have a look at the timeline where the story is actually set. The opening scene of the present timeline shows Renira riding her dragons through the clouds. Not only is the scene magnificent to look at, it also depicts the bond people have with their dragons and how normal it is for them to ride them, as no one pays any attention or even bothers to look up as Renira flies away on her dragon. The dragon pit in the first episode of the House of the Dragon is completely different than the one they showed in the 7th season of Game of Thrones. Another character that's introduced is Queen Aemma, who depicts how it's the woman's duty to have children as a way to serve the realm. Corlys Velaryon is then seen talking about triarchy, which raises a number of questions in the minds of the viewers as well as their interest level. Number 3, the king and people close to him. Another major character that was introduced was the king. Not only was the king introduced, but the men close to him are also probably going to play important roles in the story as it unravels. While Lyman Beesbury doesn't hold back from speaking up to the king, while Lionel Strong prefers to stay quiet. Whether he's a little slow or doesn't like to speak more than a few words is yet to be discovered. Other characters included Corlys Velaryon and a council member with a missing brother named Daemon. If you like this video so far, do be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon so you never have to miss out on our latest videos and notifications. Number 2, Renira and Others. A conversation between Renira and Uncle Daemon then takes place in the throne room, which then depicts that the two are very close to each other. Considering their family's history, it might not be a good sign. He then gives her a Valyrian steel necklace, which is a reference to their heritage. Daemon then sits on the throne, showing what he aims to achieve in the future, as well as how he doesn't believe in following the rules. The next we see is that Renira is also pretty close to Hightower's daughter Alicent, which is something that's different from the book. From what is shown, it can be deciphered that Renira might be more spirited, which Alicent seems to be the clever one out of the two. The scenes with Renira depict how she doesn't necessarily have the ambition to become a princess, and this is just the life that she's born into. Her young age might have to do with it, as it is how it looks like from her interactions with other characters in the very first episode. Number 1, Succession and the End of the World. The king calls for his daughter and informs her about the family's history. They talk in front of the skull of the Black Dread, which is the name of the dragon Aegon rode. The dragon then died a natural death due to old age. The conversation leads to the king telling his daughter that he is making her his heir. The king then lets her know about a deep family secret. As Aegon moved to Westeros, he had a dream in which he saw the world ending. The dream showed him a darkness that would spread over the living and destroy mankind. So when the Great Winter arrives, it's on them to stand against it and fight against the end of the world. And with this, we come to the end of the review of Episode 1. Stay tuned for more.